You're listening to the Fierce Fatty podcast, ways that low confidence manifests in daily life. I am your host, Victoria Wellsby, and let's get this episode started.
Perfect.
I'm Victoria Wellsby, TEDx speaker, best-selling author and fat activist. I have transformed my life from hating my body with desperately low self-esteem to being a courageous and confident, fierce fatty who loves every inch of this jelly. Society teaches us living in a fat body is bad, but what if we spent less time, money and energy on the pursuit of thinness and instead focused on the things that actually matter, like if pineapple on pizza should be outlawed, or if the mullet was the greatest haircut of the 20th century. So, how do you stop negative beliefs about your fat body controlling your life? It's the Fierce Fatty podcast. Let's begin.
Hello, fatty. How the devil are you today? How's life? What's cooking? Are you happy? Are you feeling good? I am looking over out of my window in my office, and the fog is rolling over the fields, over the sea, onto the mountains. Kind of a dreary day. I tell you what, listen up now here. I've been watching The Handmaid's Tale. Have you seen it, The Handmaid's Tale? Like I watched season 1 and 2 when they came out, and now I realise season 3 came out, and so I've rewatched 1 and 2 in about a week because I've got nothing else to do with my life. And it's so, honestly, it really feels like America is so close to becoming Gilead, which is the America that's been taken over by this extremist Catholic. No, they're not Catholic. They're John's, some version of Catholicism, and they impregnate women by force. And yeah, it just makes me think, oh, poor America. Hey, if you're American, please vote, please vote, please. I'm not even American, and I feel so anxious about this. And this is my prediction, that Donald is going to win the next election. That is my prediction. Okay? Don't make that come true. Go and vote, please. Please. And I don't even live in the States, but I just feel so... obviously what happens in the States affects everywhere, right? And yeah. And we don't, I don't want all you to be, affected by this maniac, this massive bigot that's in the White House. Anyway. So yeah, I've been watching Handmaid's Tale, and it's making me feel it's kind of like every episode. It's like that dark music, like music like that sets the tone, and it's like, dark, and it's all very sad and no hope. And now I look out the window and it's dreary, and it's September now, and I'm like, oh, I should go and watch something. I should not binge watch programs like that, because it makes me want to go out and I don't know, roundhouse kick men in the head or whatever. Not that I know how to roundhouse kick, but I could probably do it, because I'm really good at kicking, because I'm super flexible. Anyway, if you're watching on camera, then excuse my hair. It is looking very tussled, beachy. It's looking a bit shit, because I went out and walked the dogs, and then it started raining super hard, and so I just thought, fuck it, I'm just going to leave it like this. And actually, you know what? Looking at it, It looks pretty good. Yeah, actually, I've changed my mind about it. I look like, yeah, it looks really good. I actually styled it like this. It's meant to be like this. Yeah. And you're thinking, like, what are you talking about on video? So, by the way, most people listen to the podcast through, iTunes or Spotify or some other thing. But you can also listen and watch me, because obviously you just want to see me all the time. Watch me on YouTube, because I put the videos of me filming the podcast on YouTube too, because there are some people who like to watch on YouTube, and also some people have a premium YouTube and they can download videos and watch them on the go or listen to them on the go. I don't know. People message me and tell me they do it on YouTube. So if you want to see me, then go on the YouTubes. So yeah, so that's my life at the moment, watching Handmaid's Tale and feeling murderous rage towards men. Men in this Gilead, not men in real life too, but you know what I mean. So today we're talking about ways that low confidence manifests in daily life, and what we're covering is all the ways hating your body and having low self-esteem affects our lives, the everyday ways our behaviour is different if you have lower self-esteem versus if you have higher self-esteem, and why being worried about other people's opinions sabotages our happiness. All right, so before we start, just a reminder, if you haven't already, is that I have something called the Fierce Fatty Vault, which is a collection of loads, 18 videos and workbooks to help you get to a place of body love. So if you haven't already downloaded that, check the link in the description here and you'll see it. Okay, so ways that low confidence manifests in our daily life. The ways are numerous. Now, the first category that I want to talk about is the way that we relate to our bodies. So when you have lower self-esteem, lower body confidence, if you think that you're a big bag of shit and that you're ugly and your body needs to become thinner, whatever it is, that ability to be able to trust yourself, trust your body, your feelings, and your physical reality is diminished. So, for example, if you know how with dieting, something that we have to do when we stop dieting is we have to work to build that trust with our body again, because we've been ignoring a lot of the cues for hunger and being like, shut up, you're not hungry, just have some water. And so that is one of the ways, as an example of not trusting your body, not trusting your intuition, because you don't believe yourself, because if you have lower confidence, you will take other people's opinions and listen to their advice above what you know and what you're feeling. So we've become really good at that, especially with dieting, is we take the responsibility of feeding ourselves and how to do that. We like read a book, or we go to some diet club or whatever, and it's like, tell me how to eat, because clearly I don't know how to, and passing that on to someone else means that someone else is basically eating for us, and our body's over here being like, hello, I really want some of this or some of that, and you're like, no, that's not on the plan. Even if the things are, quote unquote, good things, because it's not on the plan. And so you're disconnected from your body. And even if you kind of know in the back of your mind that something is not working, you're kind of disconnected from your intuition. Not that intuition is always the best, but it is nice to be able to have that trust with your body. So you're disconnected from your body because of that. And if you're disconnected with your body, and you kind of see it as a thing versus this is me and it's amazing and it's great, it's a lot harder to be empathetic towards yourself. and connect and to care for yourself and care for this thing that's taking you through life. Like, if you hate your body, it's a lot harder to care for it than it would be if you truly thought it was okay or if you thought it was good, right? So ways that this could manifest is doing good things for your body, like going to the doctors, going to the dentist, or other ways to care for your body or do nice things for your body, like going and getting a massage, or going for a nice walk, or things like that. If you don't like your body, you're less likely to look after it and care for it, and that disconnect grows even deeper. Another way that this having lower confidence manifests in the way that we relate to our bodies is not showing the world the authentic version of who you are. And so, for example, not dressing in the way that is authentic to you. Like, you might love when you see other people wearing it, like bright colours and skin tight things and glitter and things like that, and you're like, oh my god, it looks amazing, but I could never wear that because my body is XYZ. And another part of it is not wanting to show it off. Why would you want to show something off that you don't like or you're embarrassed by? Not wanting to draw attention to yourself, because again, why would you? If you think that the thing that you have is bad in some way. Next is relating to your body is being in photos. Perhaps you don't want to be in photos because you're afraid of what they will look like. That you're afraid that they'll look bad. And then seeing the result of the photo could make you feel awful and could be triggering for you because you are viewing your body and you view that body as something bad. And I always find this so interesting because, you know what? The people around us know our body so well. Right? They know every single angle of our body. They know what we look like when we're deep in thought. They know all of the different foibles that we have, like something that I do all the time that I only notice because I watch the videos that I do, is that I rub my nose or I rub my face. And it's like, I think it's a self-soothing thing. So, I didn't notice that about me. But, the people around us know what we look like in every way possible, especially if someone has seen you naked. If they're your partner, like, they've seen your bum hole, they've seen you from angles that you've never will be able to see yourself from. And then the idea that this photo represents a version of you that is like this temporary version of you, like maybe your arm looked bigger than normal, or maybe it didn't, or your belly looked bigger in that photo or whatever. But the people around us know what we look like, and that photo is not going to change the way that they view us. Anyway, side note, I always just find that so interesting because people know what we look like, and if you look quote unquote fat in a photo, or if you look bigger, then at times in life you look bigger, and then you turn your head and then you'll look thinner. You're you, and a photo is not going to change that. Anyway, side note. Next is constantly making comments about your body and about how it's bad looking, or you're too big or whatever, or something about your personality, that you're stupid or you're lazy. Making comments like, oh, I'm so silly, I'm so stupid, oh, I'm so forgetful, oh, I really should stop doing this or whatever. Those kind of automatic comments, and making jokes at your own expense. Because if you deeply cared about your body, you wouldn't be laughing at it. Sometimes we do make jokes, self-depreciating jokes, but it can come from a lighthearted place. Like, when I make jokes about myself, I might be like, oh, I'm a bit of a dickhead, because I'm just like, it is true. Like, sometimes I can be a bit of a dickhead, and it doesn't make me feel bad about myself. It's just, a way of me expressing myself. And it doesn't come from a place where I'm like, oh my God, I'm at home and I'm like, I'm such a dickhead. Why am I such a bad dickhead? And everyone thinks I'm a dickhead. And, it's not that I deeply feel like I am a dickhead, even though I am a bit of a dickhead. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you get me? Just making jokes about how ugly you are, how no one likes you, how you never get a partner, how this, that, or whatever. So, talking about that, let's talk about being worried about other people's opinions. So this is a massive one. Worrying about what other people think of us is, I think, the number one barrier that people have when it comes to doing this work. I think that if everyone lived on a desert island on their own, if we had 8 billion desert islands in the world, because that's the world population, and we didn't have to think about how others perceived us, we would just be like, oh yeah, my body's cool, thanks body, whatever. But it's the thought of the way that we are perceived and our standing in society, which is all bullshit, by the way, that stops us from doing a lot of stuff in life. Because we feel a deep, deep sense of shame when we think of other people judging us negatively. Not always. If you have lower confidence, the deeper that fear and that shame is going to be. And of course, we all want to be liked. We all want to be loved. We don't want to be the villain and have everyone being like, ooh, boo, you're a bad person and you're really horrible. Like, it's natural to want that. But for that feeling about how other people view you to be debilitating in your life, that is a problem. So someone with lower confidence is so moved by the thought of others judging them negatively that they don't do things that they want to do. And what it is really that they hold other people's comfort above their own happiness. Let me repeat that because it's important. When you are so worried about other people's opinions and how people might judge you, you are worried more about someone else's comfort than you are about your own happiness. And really, who are we thinking about when we're worried about people who judge us? It's like, Becky from high school, who was a complete bitch anyway, and she's on Facebook, and if you put a new picture of yourself on there and you look bigger than you did a couple of years ago, will Becky from high school be like, oh, look at her, she's got fat? Are these people that we actually care about? And if they are people that we care about, why the fuck are they being such knobs and judging us negatively? Anyway, so what this could look like, this fear of judgment because someone has lower confidence or lower body confidence, is not wanting to ruffle feathers with family and friends if they are fat phobic, so not setting boundaries, or when family or friends are talking shit about someone else because of their appearance, not saying anything, or worse, agreeing with them. And so that's a big one, is the people around you are misbehaving in some ways, and you don't say anything because you don't want to rock the boat, or if you do say something, you're not really serious about it because, you'll be like, oh, that's not really cool, but you won't actually back it up with any action. So if they're constantly like, oh, fat people are bad, and if you say, oh, that's not cool, but then they say it again and you're just like, you say nothing, then you've not set a boundary, right? And what is the reason that you've not set a boundary? Because potentially you fear that they could reject you. They could say, chill out, you're being so uptight. You fear that they could be like, get out of my life, you're a bad person. You fear there could be an argument, or, I don't know personally why you, if you don't set boundaries, might do this. I know for me, I was just like, if I set a boundary, then they will be like, What's the problem with you? You're so uptight. Or they might tell me to fuck off, or they might talk about me behind my back, or they might not want to be my friend anymore. And if that happens, then they're someone that probably shouldn't be in your life anyway. So, okay, how else this manifests, this worried about what people think, is constantly monitoring your body. So monitoring your weight, checking your body, so body checking, so to make sure that you're okay. So for example, pulling down your shirt to make sure it's not exposed an inch of your bum, or adjusting your shirt so it doesn't show your tummy, or making sure that your hair looks a certain way, or making sure that your makeup is perfect all the time. This body checking, because really it's about others consuming your body and them making a judgment about it. And so it's really about trying to control how others perceive you. And if your shirt happens to be 1 inch lower, then they're going to be like, oh my God, that person looks really thin today. I think that's right. I find it so interesting because, us adjusting our clothes, say if a shirt went above our heads, then you'd want to put it down. But adjusting it just the tiniest little bit, the person viewing your body is not going to be like, oh, they've adjusted their t-shirt 1 inch that way and now they look really thin. They're not even going to notice, right? But in our brains, we're like, okay, now I feel better because my shirt is completely covering everything, and people might perceive me as being a better person, or a thinner person, or a more beautiful person, or a more handsome person, or whatever. And as well, this could manifest as trying to manipulate your appearance in order to keep your spouse happy. And for our spouses, we might do more deliberate things to keep them happy, like dieting or dressing in ways that they like, or keeping your hair in a certain way. I know that I have. I know that in my last long-term relationship, which ended a few years ago, my partner at the beginning of the relationship said that his ex-girlfriend, after they split up, cut her hair short, and he said he didn't like it, that he prefers women with longer hair. And so this was probably now 8 years ago maybe. And so I listened to that and I was like, right, I am never going to cut my hair short because he will not find me as attractive. So I'm going to keep it really long and so beautiful, and so that he's so attracted to me. And guess what I did after we broke up? It was like a couple of years after, or a year after we broke up, something like that, a couple of years probably. I shaved my head because living up to that expectation, he hadn't said to me, hey, don't cut your hair. He had just mentioned that one thing at the beginning of our relationship, and we were together for 5 or 6 years, and that had stuck with me, that I had to have long hair because he would find me more attractive. But that obviously was something that was going against who I wanted to be as a person, because I went and shaved my hair. So are there certain things that you're doing? And of course, like, it's normal to want to keep your spouse, interested and happy, and that they like that one outfit, and so you'll wear it because you know that they like it. But if you're constantly worried about how they are perceiving you, and that if you do this, then they're not going to find you attractive, if you put on weight, they're going to leave you, if you XYZ, then it's going to be a problem for them, then that's a problem for you. Next, going along with things that you're not really into so that people think that you're easygoing and nice. Now, I've done this many times before, going to places with my friends, or like shitty clubs, and being like, yeah, I'm so into it. And really, I didn't want to go to that particular place, or I wanted to be at home or whatever, because I wanted people to perceive me as like, oh, Victoria, she's so cool and she's so fun and she's so nice. Because I didn't realise that if I had used my voice and said, oh, hey, actually, I think that place is kind of shit, let's go somewhere else, that I could still be perceived as nice and easygoing and, good or whatever. I was just so worried that not being a people pleaser meant that people wouldn't like me, which is not true. And it is all about control. It was all about me trying to control how people perceived me again. And I had no control over the way that people perceived me. We don't, right? No matter what, people are going to perceive you in all sorts of different ways. Like, as an example, go and look up your favorite book ever on, I don't know, Amazon or Goodreads. I think that's a place where they review books. The best book ever written, even like the #1 voted best book ever. You'll go and you'll see people saying, this is the best book ever written. And you'll see people saying, this is the worst book I've ever read in my life. And you'll see a variety of opinions. Now that book is, a lot of people can say it's the best, but for some people it's the worst. And the book has not changed between reading, people reading it. So no matter what, people are going to judge you in any way that is out of your control. But by being a people pleaser, I thought that it was more likely that people would like me. But that wasn't necessarily true. Because if you are a people pleaser, you are training people about how to treat you poorly or walk over you, because you're not setting boundaries. And you're not saying, hey, this is what I think, this is what I want. And you're teaching people that you're not important. And there'll be wonderful people in life who will be like, no, hey, listen, what do you think? You're important. And they'll encourage you to not be a people pleaser, but not everyone will. So it's all about that boundaries again. And you can already do it. Like, we can all not be people pleasers. Like, we've all done it in our lives. So imagine if some random person walked up to you in the street and was like, can you go and empty all of your bank account? And just because I feel like it, they weren't threatening you or anything. Can you just give me all your money in your car and your clothes and everything? And I just fancy them. I just want them. They weren't threatening you or anything. You'd be like, no, I want to keep my money and my car and my clothes and all that sort of stuff. See you later. Now, of course, if they're like threatening you, you'd give them to them, right? But if they weren't, so you know how to say no already. You've already done it, and you don't worry about. You might worry about offending this person who said, "Hey, strip, give me all your clothes," but ultimately you're able to do it. Now, when it gets into someone being like, that's an extreme example, right? But really in day-to-day life, what it would look like is someone gently overstepping things and you being uncomfortable with it. So, for example, say if you had a spouse and they bring a friend home with them, and the friend is really rude from the beginning and then sits on the couch, puts their shoes on the table and is like, yo, get me some food and some beer and hurry up about it. You would probably like, excuse me? Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you just get the beer and food. But say if that same friend came round and was really nice and had good manners and was, you're having a good time with them, but then they were staying really late and you had to go to work in the morning and they were like, oh yeah, this is so much fun. Maybe I can get another beer, and they'll be kind about it. It might be a lot harder for you to say, get out. Although you probably wouldn't say it in that way, to say, oh, I need to go to bed now. Whereas a people pleaser might be like, let it stretch to a point where they feel really uncomfortable about it and thinking, oh God, I'm going to be so tired tomorrow. So the thing is with people pleasers, the people pleasers are not necessarily good friends. I know when I was a people pleaser, I was not a good friend, because I would have these people in my life, friends, and they would overstep boundaries. They would, because I was a people pleaser, I'd be like, no, it's fine. It's fine that you were 45 minutes late and don't worry about it. And then when I, see another friend, I'd be like, you never guess what. They were 45 minutes late. I can't believe it. They're so rude, blah, blah, blah. But then to their face, I'd be like, oh, yeah, don't worry about it. Because I was so worried about them viewing me as, nice and kind and chilled out and all that type of stuff. So next one is, on this vein of worrying about how people view you, is being a good fatty. And so good fatty, bad fatty, I've spoken about it before, but good fatty is a fat person who tries to be more appealing to society. Now, people might need to do this to survive. So it's fine if you're a good fatty and you're engaging in good fatty behaviours. It might be really important for you to live in this society. So good fatty behaviours will be like, a good fatty will be like, I know I'm really fat and horrible. I'm on a diet currently. Don't you worry, I'm going to get thin and get rid of all of this fat. Or another good fatty behaviour would be working out all the time just to show to people I'm not lazy, I promise. Or only eating salads because I'm a good person. Not like those other fatties who eat not salads or whatever. So a good fatty is a fatty who is kind of meek and mild and isn't disturbing people with their presence. Now, a bad fatty is someone, like I would be classed as a bad fatty, someone who is like, do you know what? I'm not going to diet to make myself more appealing to the masses. I'm going to eat a variety of food. I don't care how you view me. I am going to wear things that show my body, and I don't care what you think. I'm going to work out or not work out. I'm going to do that for me, but I'm not going to do it as a show to you to say, hey, I know that I'm horrible and disgusting, because I don't believe that I'm horrible and disgusting. Now, neither of those are good or bad or better than the other. It's just a way of being in the world. And like I mentioned, sometimes people have to engage in good fatty behaviours to survive because they might be in a really fat-phobic family or situation. And being a bad fatty is not an option for them. So neither are good or bad, but being a good fatty could be coming from a place of low self-esteem. You could genuinely like only ever eating salads and dieting and working out 75 days a week and all that type of stuff. But chances are more likely that comes from a place of low self-esteem. So managing other people's opinions, trying to manage other people's opinions, means that you're expending a lot of energy, a lot of brain power, alongside with all that body stuff we spoke about before. So you have less energy to give to life, to living. And so that's where we move on to our next category. So our next category is self-fulfillment. So self-fulfillment. Now, what is in here is all the stuff in that is kind of enriching your life, or not. Because, the first one I'm going to talk about is work. For a lot of people, work does not enrich your life, and it's just a way to get paid, which is fine. So I used to be in recruitment. So I was in corporate recruitment for 8 or 9 years, and I worked for agencies, and I worked in-house at companies, and I interviewed thousands of people. I've met lots of different companies, and was really good at my job. Now, this is where my interest in how people perceive themselves got started, and how I could see that candidate A, who had the exact same resume or CV as candidate B, who was maybe it's the exact same person, and then candidate A, who thought that they were terrible, that they didn't deserve the job, that they deserved less than minimum wage, would be less successful and would be less successful at getting a higher salary than candidate B, who was like, I deserve this job, I'm qualified for this job, and I deserve to be paid fairly. And so when someone is able to be themselves in the job market, be themselves, and knows their value, they tend to do better, a lot better. And that is if we can imagine putting bigotry aside, putting sexism and racism and all of the different systems that mean that various different people are not as successful because of discrimination. But if we were to compare, two twins, they're the same person, the exact same resume, and I would see it all the time. People just being like, "Oh, I don't know if I can do this. Should I ask for that much?" And I would be like, hello, yes, I've spoken to you for the last hour. You're great. Your resume is amazing. I'm going to send your resume to the client right now. You are perfect for this job. Like, you've got it. And they couldn't see it. And I was just so interested in why is it that they couldn't see that they were a good candidate for this job. So that's where I got started. So is the way that if you are in the job market or have been in the job market, the way that you are engaging in that job market could be a lot different if you had lower confidence or higher confidence. And that as well manifested for me. Before I became confident, I would accept shit jobs. Even when there were better jobs available for me, I wouldn't go for the better jobs. I would go for the shittiest jobs because I was like, well, that's all I'm worth. And as in shit jobs, as in, people treated me badly there, and I didn't get paid fairly. I got paid in a couple of jobs, paid less than minimum wage. Evil bosses. I remember one of my first proper professional jobs. I came from my first job in recruitment. Actually, I came from working in a call center, which was hell. I was not suited to a call center at all. I was really shy, so I would not want to talk to people on the phone anyway. So I'd always be like, I'm busy, I can't pick up the phone. When it's like, that's your whole job. Anyway, so I wasn't very good at that job, but I was there for probably a year and a half. And so then I went into recruitment. And my first job in recruitment was fucking horrible because of my boss. My boss at this place, oh my God, he sat opposite me and he would do things like, stop right now. What are you doing? And you'll be like, oh, I'm typing an email. You'll be like, to who? You'll be like, oh, Jane Smith at this company. What does it say? And you'll be like, oh, it says this. You'll be like, why are you doing that? He'd just be so controlling. And we'd have to make 10 calls a day to potential clients. And so you'd have to get them on the phone. And if you got someone on the phone and you didn't mention that you had a candidate that might be good to work for them, then it wouldn't be counted as a call. And he'd sit there listening to your calls. And so say if you called a company, you'd be like, oh, hello, it's Victoria here from this recruiting company. Are you looking for any staff? And they'd say, no, all good. Not hiring at all. In fact, we've got a hiring freeze at the moment and everyone's about to be laid off. And then if you didn't then go, well, I have a candidate. They are really good accounts payable clerk and they have 6 years experience. And so if you didn't say that, even though they're like, I'm about to lose my job, then it wouldn't be counted as a call. And then if you put the phone down, he'd be like, well, you can't count that as a call. And it was really hard to get 10 calls a day because people wouldn't answer their phone. Anyway, it was horrible. I hated it. Many days where I would be crying at work because of that. So if I had higher self-esteem, I might recogniise that behaviour of him, he was actually eventually fired because he, one day he said to, it was all women in the office apart from him, and he was like, if any of you bitches get pregnant, I'm going to throw you down the stairs. And someone told one of the higher ups and he got fired. And someone was secretly pregnant at the time, was scared to tell him. Anyway, he was a knob. So if I had higher self-esteem, I might recognise that behaviour was not okay. When he said he was going to throw everyone down the stairs if they got pregnant, I didn't even think that was bad. I was just like, whatever, I'm not going to get pregnant. Ugh. Yeah. Also constantly worried about that I'm about to get fired because I thought that I was, worthless, and constantly trying to prove myself, even though a lot of times I was very good at my job. So work stuff. Now, what about hobbies or activities? What hobbies or activities are affected because of you may be having lower confidence. So, do you have a goal to join the dodgeball team, but you keep putting it off because you're worried about, am I going to be good enough? Are people going to like me? Or go into that singing group and you really want to go singing, but you put it off because having lower self-esteem. What is on your list of things that you'd like to try, but you don't? Well, things like wanting to go, being invited to go on a hike with your friends and saying, oh no, I'm busy, because you're worried that if you go on a hike with your friends who happen to be thin, they'll be a lot faster. You'll slow them down. And what if they hear you breathing because you're doing a hike, and you just say, oh no, I'm not going to go? I would feel that big time. I'd always be like, oh, and try and be like as fast as possible. And then, if someone walked by me, instead of being like, I'd be like, not breathing, nope, I don't need to consume air. So funny. So dating. What about, a lot of people, when they have lower confidence, they want to have a partner, but they say, I can't find a partner because I'm too horrible and disgusting and fat. And they don't go on online dating or take the steps to find a partner. Or if they do, they make minimal effort, don't put any pictures up. Or if they put pictures up, they put the absolutely most flattering, like most filtered pictures of just their face, not showing their body. Or if they do have pictures of their body and someone messages them, then being like, oh my God, what if they think that I look bigger when we meet in person? Just all this fear and anxiety around dating, like a lot more than is necessary. And of course, everyone is nervous around dating, because women don't want to get murdered and men don't want to get laughed at. But it's natural to be anxious to a degree. But if it's debilitating and stopping you from doing these things, then it could be an issue. Next, starting your own business. Do you want to start your own business? Or your kind of side hustle or something like that? But you're not, because it means that you might have to be on camera, you might have to take photos of yourself, you might have to do some marketing, and you might have to put yourself out there, you might have to share your story, and all of that just seems like not something that someone like you could do, and so you just don't do it. Think of all of the incredible businesses out there that could be run by cool, diverse people, not by rich old white men, and people are not doing it. And obviously there's lots of barriers there as well, but if they don't believe that they can do it because they have lower confidence, and I just want to go around and just be like, just plug in my confidence, or higher confidence, just with a wand or something, for them to be like, oh, I can do it, oh okay, yeah, I'll do it. Just think of all those cool things, and if you do want to start a business, it's a gift to the world for you to be able to share your story and share what's going on. And if you want to, don't let low confidence stop you, please. We need more cool, fatty run, more diverse businesses out there. And as well, with this self-development is self-fulfillment is doing self-development. So doing a course or going to university, believing that you might fail, or believing that you can't improve, or that you are special in how fucked up you are. And so what's the point in doing a course to learn how to feel more confident about yourself, because you're a special kind of fucked up and it's never going to work for you? That's all beliefs from feeling like, from having lower confidence. And another thing is saying, I ask people a lot, what is standing in your way of becoming more confident? And so many people say me, not me as in Victoria, me as in them. They say me, I am the problem. I am why I can't feel more confident. My brain and my thoughts are why I can't feel more confident. And for me, not knowing the steps is really what's stopping people. Because what I hear is when they say me, is I hear, I don't know if I can feel more confident because I don't know how to do it. I'm the one standing in my way, but it's not you. It's that you don't have the steps, right? If someone just said, okay, take this one step forward, you're going to feel a little bit better. And another step, a little bit better. But, people are saying, it's me. I'm the problem. And yeah, it's your brain. You have a brain. Well, if you're listening to this, you're a human being with a brain. Congratulations. And so if you have a brain, then yes, it's your thoughts and all that type of shit. But a lot of times it's because people don't see a way, and so they make it about them. Okay, so the way that this manifests is different, having a lower confidence, having lower body confidence. It manifests differently for everybody. So some of these things you might be like, no, that's not me. And some of these things you might be like, yeah, that's me. Oh my gosh. But low body confidence is nefarious and insidious. It's in all aspects of our lives, and it affects everything. And that's why when we work on this stuff, so many different areas of our lives seem to improve. And like areas like you're like, oh, I didn't think about that being a thing, but now this area of my life seems easier because I don't hate my body or think that I'm a piece of shit all the time. Unexpected and unplanned things, because this stuff is everywhere. It's like tentacles in all aspects of our lives. And this is just stuff that I'm listing out today. Now, there's going to be so much stuff that I didn't have the time to get round to. But these are kind of key areas. And like I say, everyone is different. So I'm curious, in what ways could this be affecting you? If you have lower confidence, if you have lower body confidence, in what ways is that manifesting in your life? In what ways is that stopping you from living, stopping you from being the authentic you? In what ways is the fear of other people's judgments or the fear that you might be a failure stopping you? And I encourage you to list it out, because it's actually very helpful as motivation to take action. Because a lot of times what we do is we will minimize these things, and we will be like, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. Because if we really have to look at it, we realize how this thing is affecting so many parts of our lives, and it will compel us to take action. Because if we realize, shit, I'm dating guys who treat me badly, I've got a job that I hate, and I dress only in black because I'm worried that if I wear the clothes that I really want to wear, people are going to laugh at me, and I'm constantly thinking about going on a diet and keeping my partner happy and all of these things, then it adds up. And when you're able to make small changes in your confidence, that adds up too, where you get to a place where you're like, holy shit, I can't believe that working on my body confidence, working on my self-esteem and self-compassion has such a positive effect on all of these different aspects of my life. Okay, well, I hope that was helpful for you, and you got some, oh my God, shit, yeah, I do that moments from it. Not an aha moment, oh my God, oh shit, yeah, that's me. And write some things down if you want. If you don't worry. I'm not the boss of you. You do what you want. But it's really helpful to know why this shit affects us so badly. And screw this stuff. It's And by the way, if you have lower confidence and lower body confidence, it's not your fault. We live in a society that is trying to make us be distracted with this unimportant shit, and to keep us less empowered because we are so busy worrying what other people think of us and our bodies and how we're not good enough, so that we can't rise up and do amazing shit as much as if our head was clear and not having to think about, what we're allowed to eat next and all that type of stuff. So it's not your fault, but we can change it. We can change it. We can change it together. Okay. Well, thanks for hanging out today, and I'll see you in the next episode. And hey, if you haven't already, get that Fierce Fatty Vault, which is all of the juicy stuff I've made in the last 2 years to help you get to a place of body love and food freedom, all for free. Tons of videos and workbooks and sexy stuff. Link in the bio. Go get that for free, and I'll see you in the next episode. Okay, stay fierce, fatty, and I'll see you later, crocodile. Goodbye.